A president and a people, united in their loss. Words of comfort for the families who lost loved ones and gestures of support for those who survived. The victims were journalists, police officers and customers of a Jewish supermarket, unconnected before, now linked by the violent actions of 3 men. Leaders from more than 40 countries stood shoulder to shoulder with the French president. On this day, the president said, Paris is the capital of the world. People gathered at Place de la République, the traditional starting point for marches in the city. Men and women, young and old, united in their wish to reaffirm the French values of freedom, equality and fraternity.
I think it's very important to show our support to the people who died during those attacks and to show that we all support freedom of speech.
We are proud to be Muslim and we want to fight for unity of all French people.
Somehow it shows that people care and that liberty remains something and means something to us.
Organisers were expecting 1 million people. In the end, there were even more. It is an extraordinary sight. The square is absolutely packed with people and the crowds are spilling out into adjoining streets. Paris hasn't seen scenes like this since the city was liberated from Nazi occupation more than 70 years ago. Earlier, the French Interior Minister hosted a brief security meeting, bringing together his counterparts from Europe and the US Attorney General, an acknowledgement that they're facing a threat that transcends national borders.
We need to approach this both globally and operationally. We have identified 2 areas where we hope to affirm and enforce our cooperation. The ways we stop the movement of foreign fighters and terrorist cells, and the fight against factors of radicalizations, especially on the internet.
In recognition of the Jewish victims of the attacks, the French president and the Israeli prime minister visited the Grand Synagogue in Paris. Politicians will need to strike a balance between protecting their citizens and upholding the freedoms that Western democracies value. Back out on the streets, and the marchers started to move forward, walking the short but symbolic route to Place de la Nation. The violent events of the past week struck at the heart of the capital and threatened to drive a wedge between different communities. The loud and clear reply from all these people: France is united. Jackie Rowland, Al Jazeera, Paris.